"She's just a nurse. Stand aside, please." The words hit like a slap, but Claire didn't flinch. She had heard it 1,000 times, at triage tents, hospital wings, emergency drills. This time it came from a general, flanked by aides, storming into the trauma ward like he owned it. A bombing had just rocked the embassy. Chaos bled into every hallway. Claire was elbow-deep in the chest of a wounded Marine, barking orders while her hands moved with the precision of a battlefield surgeon. The general waved toward the surgical team. "Where's the doctor in charge?" No one answered. Claire didn't look up. "That would be me, for now," she said. The general stared at her. "You? You're a nurse." She didn't bother to explain. She kept pressure on the wound, clamped the artery, stabilized the vitals, and shouted for blood packs without missing a beat. "Sir, with respect," one medic whispered, "she's the only reason we've kept half the unit alive." But it didn't matter. To people like him, she was just a nurse. Not a combatant, not a strategist. Just someone who cleaned up the mess after the real work was done. What they didn't know was that Claire Monroe had been embedded with the unit for 18 months. She had served in Mosul, Kabul, and Niger. She'd patched up soldiers under sniper fire, performed field amputations with a rusted scalpel and a prayer. When the power went out, she ran ventilators by hand. When men wept in pain, she held their hands and kept them alive with nothing but her voice and grit. She was the one who stayed behind after the gunfire stopped, documenting wounds, identifying remains, calling families. She was the one who looked the war dead in the eyes before zipping the bags. But to command, she was invisible. Just a nurse. Until that day. The embassy bombing had left 17 injured, 5 critical. The surgical wing was overrun. Claire worked for 36 straight hours. No sleep, no food. Her scrubs soaked in blood that wasn't hers. When they lost power again, she jury-rigged an IV line using tubing and the handle of a mop. One soldier flatlined twice. She brought him back both times. When the commanding officer finally arrived, he expected to find a disaster. Instead, he found an order. Stability. Survivors. He asked, "Who's in charge here?" A corporal answered, "Nurse Monroe." The CO stared. "Monroe? Where is she?" They pointed to the back room, where she was wrapping the stump of a young private's leg and humming softly to keep him conscious. She stood, covered in dried blood, hair matted with sweat. "Reporting, sir," she said, without emotion. He just stared at her. A week later, a formal ceremony was held at the White House to honor military medical personnel for their service. Claire almost didn't go. "They're not going to call my name," she told her sister on the phone. "They never do." She wore her dress blues anyway, sat in the back row. She watched as medals were pinned, doctors applauded, commanders shook hands. Then the president stepped up to the podium. "There are many heroes in this room," he began, "doctors, medics, leaders. But today I want to acknowledge someone who reminds us that rank doesn't define courage, that a uniform alone doesn't make you a warrior, that sometimes the hand that heals is the hand that saves the mission." He paused, looked down at his notes, then looked up directly at her. "Staff Sergeant Claire Monroe, you were called just a nurse, but you brought 17 souls home, and for that, this nation thanks you." Every head turned. Claire's heart stopped. Her name echoed through the room like thunder. Applause swelled. Real, roaring, standing ovation applause. Generals stood, soldiers wept, doctors saluted. Claire didn't move at first. Then someone nudged her. "Go," they whispered. She walked forward, stunned, her hands shaking slightly. The president shook hers, leaned in, and said, "You redefined what service looks like." She didn't cry until later, when she got back to her base and found a letter taped to her locker. It was from the young private whose leg she had saved. "You didn't just keep me alive, you gave me the strength to live," it read. "I hope one day I can be half as brave as the woman who held my hand when I wanted to die." Claire folded the letter and placed it inside her uniform pocket, over her heart. They used to call her just a nurse. Now they called her the reason someone got to go home. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment. Where are you watching from? If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.